Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm Tamiko Pugh, also known as the Empowering Diva. Each week, you'll hear inspirational interviews as well as actionable tips and strategies that you can implement into your daily life to help you live a life of passion, purpose, and potential. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump into today's episode of Living the Empowered Life. Are you the go-to person in your group of friends? Do you have a zest for life and enjoy helping others reach their full potential? Do you feel a calling to make a difference in the world? If this is you, then you may want to consider becoming a life coach. We have a virtual online training starting soon. Our life coach training focuses on helping women who desire to motivate, inspire, and empower other women by using their skills, expertise, and experience to thrive as a personal development coach. Using the empowerment formula, participants will learn step-by-step tools, tips, and techniques needed to attract great clients and build a thriving, purposeful, and profitable coaching business. Get all the details and register at www.tamikolori.com/life coach training. Welcome to another episode of Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm your host, Tamiko Pugh, also known as the Empowering Diva. In today's episode, I'll be chatting with Realtor, philanthropist, and charter guest on Below Deck Mediterranean, Karen Bramwell. Karen believes that everything in life happens for a reason, and to whom much is given, much is required. With her primary goal centered around giving back, Karen's mission is to exemplify positivity, which will uplift and empower others to live beyond life's limitations. In today's episode, Karen and I discuss everything from parenting, love, family, marriage, and business. All right, Living the Empowered Life community. So you have heard her amazing introduction. We're going to go ahead and dive into our conversation with Karen Bramwell. Karen, how are you?
I'm doing great, Tamiko. How are you?
I am doing amazing. Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. I know that we are all busy, but anytime you have an opportunity to pour into other people and empower them, I'm a fan. So thank you for being here. I definitely appreciate that. So Karen, let's go ahead and dive into this conversation. Tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, a little bit of your background.
Well, I'm originally from Queens. I do have a Caribbean background. My mother and my father are both from Antigua, West Indies. Born and raised in Queens. We currently reside in Long Island. I am a mother of 5. Together, my husband and I have 5 children. And I am a realtor. And, part of my time, I do assist my husband at the office as well. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Awesome. So a New Yorker. I actually grew up in Buffalo, New York, upstate New York.
Okay.
But, they always tell us, we're not really New Yorkers, we're Canadian because we're so close to Canada. So I would go to Toronto and stuff like that to go shopping. Because New York City is 6 hours from Buffalo. So
right. Well, I know because our daughter is in Buffalo State currently. So trust me, I know the distance.
Oh, she's at Buff State. I went to Buff State. My brother went there, my sister. So yeah, okay.
Yes, this is her senior year. I'm so happy.
Awesome. Oh wow. That area, that campus and everything has changed since I was there. But congratulations on her getting ready to graduate.
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome. So you guys have a lot going on in New York. Your husband, he's the co-owner of actually one of the largest minority certified property management and development firms in New York State. So that is amazing. And like you said, you work alongside him as a realtor. So how did you all get to that point in your careers for you to be the largest minority certified property management and development firm? Because New York State is huge.
Right. Well, I honestly think that was by default. When you set out to do the right thing And when you set out to be professional and stand behind your business, that normally happens by default. There's really no map as to how they did it or how they became, successful or one of the largest minority firms, apart from being professional, standing behind your business and just being true to who you are as a business.
I like that, being true to who you are. Because oftentimes people kind of miss that piece, right? They're like, I want to be like you. I want to do what you're doing. How did you get to your point, where you are in life? And it's like, you really have to just be authentic, be true to who you are, be true to your calling, be true to who God has called you to be. And I believe that things fall into place. Like you said, it's literally by default, right? Because you all are being true to yourself. So how did you and your husband meet? I know a lot of people want to know that. A lot of our community, the Living the Empowered Life community, is comprised of different women, professional women, married women, single women. And so our single women always want to know about the whole relationship thing. So how did you and your husband meet?
Well, you know what? It brings me so much excitement to share that with such a group, because I am constantly looking for a platform where I can inspire, uplift, and transform women, single, married, because I've lived, I've walked all of those roads. I've traveled all of those paths. And believe it or not, my husband and I met in elementary school.
Wow.
And the reason why I'm ecstatic to share this story is because it's like what God has designed. No man can destroy that. And we had no idea. We met in elementary school. I'll just start from the beginning. We met in elementary school in the first grade, and we went to the same school from the first to the 8th grade. And believe it or not, my husband and I barely spoke. It wasn't until 20 years after that the class decided to have a reunion that my husband and I connected. And I like to say that God, he's just so humorous, because he knew it all along. It was destined. It was destined. And I say that to say, especially to the young women, just stay faithful. It's already been designed. Your book has already been written. So if you stay faithful, you definitely will reap those blessings, and you'll receive those blessings. And I truly see our, being reunited in our marriage as a blessing, because I had no clue.
Wow, that is a blessing. How long have you all been married?
We've been married 6 years, going on 7.
Awesome. I'm going on 6 years this year as well. So congratulations.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. We've been together for 10 going on 11, married for 6.
Amazing. And I love that you said, you like to inspire, uplift, and transform. We need so much of that in the community now. People are looking for inspiration. People are looking to be uplifted. And transformation is so important. So many people are suffering in silence. And so that's one of the reasons why I created the Living the Empowered Life platform, because so many women are suffering in silence and they need that inspiration. So thank you just for that. Like, those words are powerful.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for creating that. That's something that I've always inspired to do. And I honestly, I just feel as if I need guidance to do it, but I'm going to keep striving, because I definitely believe that it's my purpose.
Absolutely. I mean, and you can do it. And honestly, that whole inspire, uplift, and transform, those are going to be your keywords when you do launch. Whatever it is that you do, those are your keywords right there. Inspire, uplift, and transform. Inspire, uplift, and transform with Karen Bramwell. All right now.
I like.
Yes. And so you also said that no man can destroy what God has designed. Another very powerful statement that you put out there. And so stuff like that always sticks with me. It's like a tweetable moment, like, you want to tweet that and quote that person. So that's another powerful statement that you mentioned. And I truly believe that, like, no man can destroy what he has designed. And the fact that you all reconnected after 20 years is a testimony in itself. What is it like working with your spouse? I like to ask that question. My husband and I kind of work together. We're both coaches and consultants. He is my podcast producer. And so, we kind of work together, but you guys really work together. So what is it like working with your spouse and then like being able to balance or separate your personal from your professional lives?
Well, honestly, although we do work in the same building, we're not, we're not side by side. My husband also runs a construction company, so he's more focused on that. I work more in regulating the occupancy part of the development to ensure that the vacancies are filled. I think, honestly, it's very helpful that we work together, because prior to us working together, I always wanted to be supportive. I always wanted to understand what he was going through, on a day-to-day basis. But although I would listen, I was also listening from the outside. So now I'm in it, I can really relate more. So I can understand, okay, so that's what that term means. Okay, that's the agency you're speaking of. As opposed to just generalizing it and just giving him the logical answer. I can also assist him in coming together with, more of an educational answer based on the business.
Right. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. That's good stuff right there. And you guys were recently on the hit Bravo TV show in the Southside Charter on Below Deck Mediterranean. What was your experience like on that?
Well, being on Below Deck was definitely an experience like no other. It was relaxing. It was beyond 5-star. It was amazing. I don't know how else to explain it, but by saying it was amazing. It was a really, really nice experience.
Was that something that you ever even expected? Like, how did you get the call to even be on the show?
Well, what happens was our friends, Shauna and Crystal Foote, they were approached about being on Below Deck. And when they were approached originally, they really didn't know when that would happen, because the producers did tell them that they would need to have other couples with them. And it just so happened that we were on vacation in Jamaica and we were on the beach, and they brought up the fact that they were asked to be on Below Deck, but they had to have 4 other couples with them. At the time, was 2 other couples and that, were present on the trip. And we said, let's do it. And that's just how it happened. By the time we got back, they reached out to the producers. The producers auditioned us. They loved us. And before you knew it, we were planning. We could not believe that when we got on the yacht that we were on another vacation that soon after our original trip.
Wow, that is amazing. Like, that's like something that happens like once in a lifetime, right? That's right. It's amazing. So, I believe that there's always some type of learning experience, when we do stuff, or there's a lesson in everything we do. What was your biggest lesson from being on that show or being on the boat, on the charter?
My biggest lesson from being on that show was something that I mentioned earlier, and that's about being true to yourself. And the reason why I say that, Tamiko, is because going on the yacht prior to going on the yacht, it was nerve-wracking. We're like, oh my goodness, we're going to be mic'd. Everything that we say is going to be recorded, our actions, everything. But the moment we got on the yacht, we remained true to who we were, and everything came naturally.
That's good. I think that's a good thing too, because a lot of times when people are on TV or reality shows, I feel like everyone acts, they put on a different persona or their reality TV personality. So the fact that you mentioned it twice, being true to yourself and being true to who you are. That's when people are most attracted to you, because they can see your authenticity.
Exactly. And that's exactly what was transpired through our charter. And we know that based on the responses that we got from, the Below Deck viewers, that, you guys were so classy, you were so positive, and that's who we are. So what I got most of that is, if you stay true to who you are, everything comes naturally. You don't have to worry about any position that you're put in, because you're being your authentic self. which
Yes.
should come easily. And it did.
And it should come easily. Unfortunately, it's not easy for everyone. But here's what I love about you, and I definitely believe in divine connection. Living the empowered life, there's 6 principles to living the empowered life. And one of them is to walk in your authentic power, which means to be authentic to yourself, be who you were created to be. Being true to yourself. So the fact that you mentioned that twice, I feel like it is an alignment because that's one of the principles. And you had no idea that
No.
that was principle number 6 of how to live an empowered life. So I think that we're in alignment with the message that's being put out, especially today, with being authentic, walking in your authentic power, and being true to yourself.
Right. And being transparent. I think that is so important because I am a firm believer that nothing that happens to you is for you. It's for you to share with someone else because your experience can help someone else come out of something that they're going through or about to go through. So I truly believe that being transparent is so important because it's like I said, I always say that in life, what happened to me wasn't for me. God, please help me understand my reason for going through this. Please help me share and be able to transform an individual that's either going through it or prevent them from even getting to that point.
That's good too. Being able to be transparent. And you hit it on the nose. You said it, like everything we go through in life, there's definitely a lesson behind it, but it's not always going to be for us. It's for those people it's to give hope to those people who are actually either going through it or about to, and we can prevent them. So yes, being transparent. And then it goes back to those people who are suffering in silence. Like so many people suffer in silence because they think that they're alone. But when people like you or people like me who are transparent and share your testimony and share your story, it definitely gives them hope. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
Right. And honestly, Tamiko, it's those people that feel as if they're alone. And then there's the other class of individuals that don't even know how to communicate what they're going through.
Wow.
I often say that communication can be misunderstood or not communicated at all.
Yeah. Wow. That's good right there. Communication can be misunderstood. Yeah, that's powerful right there. Like you are like on it, honey. You are definitely on it. I mean, everything that we're talking about right now is just so in alignment with, living the empowered life and just being authentic. And one of the other things that you talked about, this was in your bio, you mentioned that everything in life happens for a reason. And to whom much is given, much is required. So what does that statement mean to you personally?
Okay, well, that's going back to saying in the beginning of our conversation when I said that, our lives have already been written. God, the beginning and the end, it's already been written. So for us to face situations in life, and say, oh, this shouldn't happen. No, it should. It's the way we receive it that determines the outcome. So what that means for me in essence is, and I instilled this in my home. I make everyone in my home crazy because no matter what happens in life, I'm like, there's something positive in that situation. The way your mindset is going to determine what you got out of that experience. There's something positive in it. And a lot of times if we get caught up in the situation and not so much the message, we'll miss the message. So that's why I always, try to bring myself back to understanding that, okay, let's analyze it. Let's try to figure out what happened. And then again, I take it to God. God, don't let me miss it. Help me understand the message. There's a message behind this. This happened for a reason. Help me understand. Yeah. So that's what that part of it means for me. To whom much is given, much is required. I mean, it's in the word. To whom much is given, much is required. My husband owns one of the biggest minority companies. So of course that makes life a little bit more comfortable, but to whom much is given, much is required. So God didn't put me in this position for me to just sit back on my laurels and say, oh, I'm on cloud nine. God put me in this position to allow me time to give back to someone else. So, it's easy for individuals to see us on below deck. And I always say this, and, on an expensive yacht and living a life, but I want to do more than that. I want to reach out to those individuals that aspire to do the same. I want to reach out to those individuals that aspire to be successful. And I want to bring them in.
Yes, I totally believe that. Everything you just said, and just reaching back out and bringing people along with you. We see the hashtag women empowering women or hashtag women supporting women. And we definitely have to live that and be that type of person, that's going to reach out and grab our sister by the hand and say, you know what, I'm bringing you along with me. Right. Because there's no competition. Like, we all have something in us that's going to make a difference in this world. And the other thing I thought about as you were talking, I thought about purpose, and you mentioned a couple of times about understanding the lesson and what it is that we go through. And you said, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing, but you were like, God, don't let me miss the lesson in this.
That's right.
Like, that was so powerful. God, don't let me miss the lesson in this. Sometimes we focus on that adversity or that thing that we went through. Like, we focus on it so much that we miss the lesson that God was trying to teach us. And it takes me to Romans 8:28. Romans 8:28, all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. And so there's purpose behind that thing, right? Like, I think that's so powerful.
That's very true. And it's true, because that's the plan of the enemy, to distract you, and we have to understand that he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But if you stay focused on God's word, you won't lose you won't lose track. You understand? You won't miss the message, because you're focused on, what his purpose is. You're focused on what his message is. So you won't allow that outside distraction. And it's so, so important, because a lot of times with dealing day to day, dealing with home, dealing with children, dealing with work, dealing with family, we can get caught up in those emotions. But if you understand that havoc and confusion comes from the enemy, and, our God is a God of a sound mind, it'll keep you on track. And that is so, so important. I mean, I've seen my days transform by just taking a moment to think clearly and focus on the positive as opposed to the negative.
Yes, hon. Oh my gosh. This was good. Like, he is a God of a sound mind. He's not the author of confusion. And so, like, you're dropping these scriptures left and right. And I'm loving it. I love your faith. I love that you're unapologetic about being a woman of faith, right? And making sure that you are in alignment with what God has called you to do. Mm-hmm. And, earlier you mentioned the work that you want to do with women. I'm like, you already doing it. You are already inspiring. Like, you've inspired me over these past few minutes. You're uplifting women with your words, and you're helping them to transform their lives. So you already doing it.
So much. And I guess when I say that, it's just seeking that platform, so that I can reach out to more individuals. Mm-hmm. So you create your pages on Instagram, and then you have a few followers, and then you get discouraged. And honestly, I even do it on my Facebook. I'm just constantly posting, positive quotes and, things that are uplifting, things that someone somewhere needs. And if I can just connect with one person, my job is done.
Yes, I was going to say that if you connect with one person and you inspire one person, like, your job is done, because you never know what that person may have been going through. That's why, I think it's so important that, we dispel the myth that social media can be messy.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of good messages on there, and it's up to you what you want to see on your timeline. Because I will delete in a minute, like, oh no, I can't look at this every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be careful what we allow in our spirit.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm such a firm believer in that. Be careful of what you allow in your spirit. Oh, I'm a firm. Again, that's something else that drives my children crazy because we have adult children. So, when they get to a certain age, they think they know it all. I'm like, oh, no. You're going to rebuke that person and you're not going to speak to them again. And you're going to pray for them from a distance.
I know that's right. So you have 5 adult children?
Yeah, well, our oldest is 26. Then we have a 24-year-old. We have 4 boys and 1 girl. Our daughter will be 21 this Friday. We have a 14-year-old, and then we have a 4-year-old.
Wow. 4, 14, 21. Wow. Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing. But you're busy though. You're a busy mom still. You have the 4-year-old, you have the 14-year-old. And even when they become young adults, right, we're still responsible for them, to an extent.
My hands are never off. Even if I'm praying from a distance, my hands are never off. I am very involved. Yes. Doesn't matter how old they get. Because you always know more than them. So it's important that you give them that guidance that's necessary.
Absolutely. That brings me to my daughter. She's traveling this week. She's in LA and she was like, she's 28. She texted me and was like, I don't feel good. My tummy hurts. She's like, I just want my mommy. I was like, really? I was like, okay. So yeah, they're spoiled, but
yeah, our daughter is traveling also for her 21st birthday. I mean, she texts me, she goes, I'm going to Antigua for my birthday. And I'm like, LOL. She's like, I'm serious. I'm like, here we go.
Nice. Antigua. Okay.
That's where my family is from. And, she go. So well, I'm Karen, just praying.
You are amazing, Karen. I mean, like, you're a mom, right? You're a businesswoman. You're a wife. You're so inspirational. Like, you have all these things that are happening in your life right now. So how do you maintain balance? Being a mom, working, a businesswoman, a wife, like, is there any advice that you can give women on how to balance?
I think, and I always say this when I'm asked a question about balancing, and I always say remain present. And when I say that, Tamiko, I mean, okay, yes, life happens, but jumping up and down, giving too much energy to anxiety causes us not to be present on the things that are most important. And I just think that because, you have a 28-year-old, you know how fast that happens. And if we don't remain present, we'll miss out on a lot. So yes, life can happen, work gets crazy, but I always bring myself back to, I have a 4-year-old that needs my attention. I have a 4-year-old that's going to do things that he may never do again that I want to be present for. And again, I say that with being positive. If you're positive, it helps you remain present because it helps you not to miss the message. And that message is what's going to be necessary to take you to the next step. So, as far as balance is concerned, I think that the biggest or the most important thing that I'd like to share is just to be present and focus on the things that are important and hold on to your faith. Like you said, I am very, very big on faith. And I know that with faith, there isn't anything that's going to happen on a day-to-day basis that God can't get me through.
That's good. Like remaining present, being present. When you say that, I think about being in the moment because we get so busy that we don't know how to be in the moment sometimes, right? I can be guilty of that. So being sure to be present, being positive, or you will definitely miss out on some of those important things. So I'm so glad you said that. Being present, being positive, holding on to your faith was the other thing that you said. So I think that's everything that you said definitely makes sense. Otherwise, we'll miss out.
And that ultimately will help the balance because now you're prioritizing yourself and you're focusing on what's most important, as opposed to getting flustered with everything that's happening on a day-to-day basis around you. Like if you're running late for work, for instance, I always say delayed but not denied. That could be God preventing you from something that was ahead. And I've had testimonies, where no matter what happened, I couldn't find my keys, I couldn't find the baby's shoes. It just, nothing would come together so that I could get out of the house on time. And just as I'm going along my merry way, after I finally get everything together, at the end of my block, there's an accident. Well, to God be the glory. Was that what my delay was for? So that I wouldn't have been in that intersection when that occurred?
Yeah, that's so true. Oftentimes we get upset, we're flustered, we're in a hurry, we're frustrated, not knowing that God is probably blocking something that's going to save your life.
Absolutely. Delayed but not denied. Absolutely.
Wow. This is very inspiring. So, it's Living the Empowered Life podcast. Living the Empowered Life is a movement. So, what does living an empowered life mean to you?
Living an empowered life means to me, and again, I have to piggyback on what I said earlier, not just your empowered life, but assisting others with doing the same. Because a blessing isn't a blessing until you share it with someone else.
Yeah.
So it's okay to, be in the limelight and, doing all the things that other people aspire to do, but give back as well. Help others do the same. So that's what living, to me, I'm not empowered until I can show others to do the same.
Oh, yeah.
That's what empowers me.
That is so true. And, I have a quick little story. My mentor, at one point, we were having a conversation one day, and I have a nonprofit organization. And I was telling her, I said, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm doing all the work in the organization. I have a team, I have board members, but I'm doing everything because I don't trust anyone else to do it, right? This is my baby. And she said, Tamiko, you have this whole movement about living the empowered life. People call you the empowering diva. But she said, sweetheart, you are not empowering anyone by not allowing them, by not giving them the tools that they need to be successful and do the work that you brought them on board for a reason. And you're not empowering them, like you're not helping them. And that kind of stuck with me for a very long time. And so it allowed me to really empower other women and teach them and train them, in those areas that I've been able to excel in, because I wasn't doing a good service to them. And so when she said that to me, it really stuck to me. And so what you just said, it literally made me think back to that, we have to share the blessings. Like we have to assist our sisters.
Because it's not for us, Tamiko. It's not for us. God put it in us because he knew that we were able to transform others. He knew that we were able to deliver. He wouldn't give it to someone that wasn't going to speak and to share. So if he gave it to us and he gave us those experiences and he gave us that intellect or even the ability to speak to other people, because even that is, difficult for some. Remember I mentioned not being able to communicate, not being able to articulate what you're feeling. That in itself is a skill. I take it as a blessing. I receive it as a blessing. And he has put that, because God puts in individuals what he wants to share, what he wants them to share with other people. God works through people. So a lot of times someone may come into your life and you're like, oh my God, you're amazing. But we have to take a step back and say, you know what? You were sent by God. So I have to give him the ultimate glory.
Yes. Give God the glory. Absolutely. I love that. Karen, what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming initiatives, anything happening and going into the new year that you would like for us to support or that we can support?
Like I said over and over, I am just really, really in dire need of finding that platform so that, again, I can speak to individuals like your group and even more women. I've started a page a while back called In My Own Words. And the reason why I titled it that way is because in my own words means real words for real relationships, and not just man and woman, mother and daughter, mother and son, just things that you wouldn't find in Hallmark, just things that you won't find if you Google, because everything is just, sugar coated and glossed over. So, and again, and the basis of that was what I explained to you earlier. Some things can be miscommunicated, misunderstood, or not communicated at all. So I just wanted to dive into that to give those that do have challenges with communicating what they're feeling a voice.
Yeah. Well, I am here to support you, whatever you need. Look at me as a support system. I think that you already have everything inside of you. Like, God has really blessed you with a voice and this ability to really inspire people. And I don't say that to everyone, but you really have, there's something about you that's very inspiring and it's very authentic. And it's obvious. It's obvious that you're being authentic and that this is something that you're really passionate about.
That means so much to me. God, thank you, Tamiko. I thank you so much for that.
No problem. I mean, I feel it. I'm like, yeah, she's definitely serious about this. Do you have, so like, I like to make sure that you had an opportunity to share everything that was on your heart. So do you have like a final thought or something that you want to say, an inspirational quote or a message for the audience?
I think we've touched on all my favorite quotes. I'm big on faith. We know that faith is believing without seeing. That is my favorite word. I like to say it's my favorite F word. Yes. And a little funny story is I'm not into tattoos. And I have one. And the reason why I have one is because on my daughter's 18th birthday, she goes, "Mom, let's get matching tattoos." I'm like, "Raven, I don't do tattoos. Like, art should be on the wall. I'm fine. My skin, I don't want any tattoos." And she goes, No, but I'm thinking maybe we should just do your favorite word. I'm like, "Really, Raven?" So, of course, I fly to Buffalo on her 18th birthday and we get matching tattoos. So now I have the word faith on my wrist because she put me together, for lack of a better term. But that's how big I am on the word faith. So I said, you know what? It can be a constant reminder for me if I have that on my wrist. So we have those matching tattoos. And I just say that to say my final word would be, ladies, hold on to your faith. It's believing without seeing. And when you trust God, he'll do everything but fail.
Yes, he will. Oh, wow. How can we keep in touch with you? How can we stay connected through social media, or if you have a website? Can you share that with us?
So through social media, you can follow, anyone can follow us on our page, and it's at Blended and Blessed. And that's what my husband and I have put together because it pretty much explains our family. Blended and Blessed, understanding that there's blessing after heartache. We see all of these shows and we love the Cosby Show, but the reality is a lot of times that's not the way it ends up. There are a lot of blended families, and we just want everyone to understand that, there is happiness after heartache.
There is happiness after heartache. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for uplifting us. Thank you for being an amazing guest on Living the Empowered Life podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Tamiko. I truly enjoyed it.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Living the Empowered Life podcast. I hope that you enjoyed my amazing conversation with Karen Bramwell and that you were able to draw some inspiration as you continue your journey of living an empowered life. And remember, we rise by lifting others. What if you can make a difference in the world using your expertise, your experience, and your story? When you write a self-help book, you have the power to help other people address their most pressing personal and professional issues while also finding your success as an author. If you're a survivor of life's adversities, if you have an expertise or experience that can make a profound impact on the world, then I invite you to register for my free training, How to Write a Self-Help Book in 30 Days. In this free training, you'll learn the 5 keys to writing a successful self-help book, how to craft an outline, how to create a writing schedule, and actually stick to it. You'll also learn how to brainstorm book ideas using your personal story, your expertise, and your life experiences. This training is free, but you must register at tinyurl.com/author training. So ladies, listen. It's time to discover and live your life purpose. It's time to value yourself. It's time to set goals that are going to move you forward in life. It's time to rebuild your confidence. It's time to fearlessly walk in your authentic power. And ladies, it's time to live the empowered life.